DJ, play that music.
Donny,
Ari,
it's the last episode.
it's the last episode, and I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for it, but I have to be. Oh my god. So, I don't know about you, but I am just so kind of bamboozled that we're at this episode. I feel like maybe I was experiencing some denial, like when we announced the end, but now that we're here, I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, I've been super like, oh, it's a ways off. We've got time, and that was back in like November, at the beginning of November. So it was like, a month and a half away. And so now like we're on it, and I'm like, oh, it's happening now. I slept all day today, and so
I've been like low key trying not to cry all day. So if I cry tonight, I apologize, but it's probably going to happen. But I also have kind of felt like this very odd sense of like serenity too, because I'm like, wow, like wow, we've really done a lot. Yeah.
we have though. We have.
My horrible impression of Jennifer Coolidge.
Wow, we really have done a lot.
Series finale.
Series
the games are gonna
finale.
get me.
The series finale, guys. This is it.
Oh, everyone, welcome back to Restitching the Tapestry. As of this recording, it is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. We are recording a couple of days ahead of time because I just wanted time to prepare and edit if need be. But we are on the series finale of the show that we've been talking about for so long now. So tonight we have a lot of stuff lined up for you. We have a number of segments. We're going to be talking about how we're feeling. We're going to be reflecting on the 180 episodes that we've done. There will be guest appearances from people who've appeared on the show. There's going to be poetry. You know there's going to be poetry if Ari and I are doing this, right?
Yes.
There's going to be a Q&A. There's going to be a little backstage special showing you what we do when compiling our notes for the show. And ultimately, I hope that for all of you, this episode will be fulfilling. I hope that you will together enjoy honoring all the stuff, all the community that we've created together, because I feel like all of us have been part of this vital community. So
I hope you get like a nice, like warm drink, like some tea or some hot cocoa, and or like maybe even just like a glass of water or something, just like a nice little drink, and you just cozy up with us. Get like a nice little blanket or something, and just cozy up and watch us tonight for our last episode.
Yeah. And don't despair. Like, I know there are quite a few people who are upset that we are concluding things. Don't despair. The show will be up. You'll be able to watch it. You'll be able to listen to it on Spotify and everything like that. And honestly, we always will leave the door open for a return because, like, we love doing this. There is no surprise and exaggeration in the fact that we love doing this. So,
but I definitely need some time off to work on stuff and to work on me and to work to just have that break for a while, at least to have because I just need a little.
Me too.
I just need to figure myself out.
Well, it's going to be a big early 2025 for you. We'll be talking about our goals later for 2025, but it's going to be a big 2025 for both of us. And and sometimes you need to honor yourself by giving yourself a chance to rest and recuperate. So, so Quick current event snapshot. You know, it would not be tradition for an episode to not have a current event snapshot. So the suspect in the healthcare CEO who was killed in New York City was found at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
The adjuster got caught.
The adjuster got caught. His name is Luigi Mangione.
Did you read the fan fiction about him?
Oh my God. People are thirsting over this man. I mean,
I only read the first 2 chapters, but it was pretty decent.
I know enough about him to know that, well, of course, he's attractive, duh. He is also a Pokemon fan. He has all of Carly Rae Jepsen's discography downloaded.
How do you know this?
Because, gay Twitter is, of course, blowing up because everybody's thirsting over this man.
He's a folk hero. They said, I know that Blue Sky was like, they found him in an Altoona McDonald's is basically like folk hero status.
You know, I know there's like a lot of like complexity with like the fact that he did kill somebody, and obviously killing is not right. But, you know, there's been a lot of like discourse about the commentary created with regard to, you know, the medical industrial complex and the message that has been sent. And I think that that's just something worth reflecting on for the moment, because, I mean, it does draw attention to, and a lot of awareness to like class divisions and how privileged are protected against these types of things, whereas, you know, the everyday person is not, right?
Well, because the fact of the matter is the CEO is part of a company that denies claims people every day, and every day people die because of the decisions that he makes.
Well, Ari, are you ready for the mission statement? Our last mission statement?
You want to do it together?
Yes, absolutely. I'll go first. We live in a dynamic society where social media shapes us by creating greater opportunities for connection. It has led to a developing understanding of the adversity many marginalized communities face, the powers causing the adversity, and those who act as bystanders as atrocities take place in real time.
Our goal with this show is to make connections and have challenging conversations about social topics, current events, pop culture, and art. Together, let's weave the threads of understanding with what privilege we have in order to learn, educate, and create in a world that's growing.
Let it sink in.
It's the last time.
It's the last time.
Yeah.
How are we feeling at the end of things?
Sad.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting combination for me. It's sad. It's full. It's fulfilled. I've just, Ari, we literally started this back in 2020 amid the pandemic, the George Floyd tragedy, and we felt the need to do something. We felt the need to have an important conversation and go from there. And I don't think we expected it to transform into something with this level of longevity. Did you?
I didn't. It feels like it's been such a blank. Like, I can't believe we've done 180 episodes. Like I go back through and I'm like, because I was looking through the list because I was compiling like my favorite episodes, and I was like, didn't we just do this yesterday? Wasn't this just yesterday? I mean, and it was like 2 years ago or like 2.5 years ago, and I was like, we just talked about I was like, did we just talk about this? Did we just talk about this episode? And the episode I was thinking about Just what I was thinking about was that Luna and Lunacy episode. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
we just talked about this. This was just yesterday. That was back in 2023. I was like, no, that was yesterday. That was last month. That was literally last month. No, it was over a year ago.
I think that's what makes it so funny, because it feels like it's been both yesterday, but also like 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And I really think, like, I really believe that when we started YouTube way back in the late 2000s, I think we always wanted to do some sort of collaboration on a grand scale.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think that we knew what we would do, and I don't think we never thought we'd see it through until we reconnected some years ago, and then bam, it happened, right? Yeah. Wow. But, like, I mean, I am feeling very bittersweet about it, but I'm also feeling at peace about it, because I know that looking back, we did some great work. I feel like we definitely made some connections with people, because when we made the announcement that we were ending, like, there were a number of people who were upset, and I don't think I anticipated that. I remember one person said that they found a lot of comfort in this show and appreciated, like, the regularity and the routine that we created with them by just, like, having a conversation together and sitting down with everyone.
And it's so strange to me because I always thought like, oh, we do this like every so often, but we don't do it like every week, do we? And it's like, oh no, we do it every week.
When you think, like, 5 years, 180 episodes, we've recorded episodes a good 30 to 40 weeks out of a year when you think about it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So that is a good chunk. That is a solid chunk. And I think we just got so used to it that it didn't feel like it doesn't feel like work, because it is enriching. It is
Yeah.
our hangout time,
Yeah.
right? So, but, well, I mean, let's think back on 180 episodes. Like, I mean, have we adhered to the mission statement from the beginning?
Oh, at first I thought that the mission statement was just going to be like for the first episode, you talk about the first episode, you talk about the George Floyd protest, and that I thought, oh, this is only going to be like something that is going to be it's so specific, it's only going to make sense for the first episode. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no way we're going to be able to fit this into like different facets of different things. But as we've talked about issues, I've always come back to the mission statement. I've always come back to the mission statement. I always, like, it doesn't matter if we're talking about journaling, if we're talking about diet culture, if we're talking about, the college industrial complex, or if we're talking about gay pride, or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
we've always come back to the mission statement. And it's always been, it's such a solid thing that we had built and we had thought about and we had put so much time and effort into,
Yeah.
that I thought that it was so specific to one thing, and it became something that was so much more than just about a protest.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's an extension of the title, I'd say. I don't really think we've ever sat down and talked about why we came up with the title that we did. And
Who did you come up with the title, or did we? I think we came up with it together.
we did come up with it together because, well, I mean, because we were initiating the show during a very pivotal moment in our history with the pandemic and the horrible thing that happened
Yeah.
with George Floyd. Like, I think we were thinking about our country and the world as being like this tapestry that each of
Had been
us has
had
a
been ripped
response.
apart. Yeah.
Had been ripped apart, a tapestry that each of us, I think, has some level of responsibility in maintaining. And I mean, that's why, like, the last statement in the mission statement is, together we weave the threads of understanding with what privilege we have in order to learn, educate, and create in a world that's growing. That was our motivation, because as two people, especially two white people, we understood that we do have, and still have, privilege, of course.
Right.
And for those of us with privilege, I think it is crucial that we learn, but also do the educating and work toward mending the damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think over the years we've unpacked that privilege. We've also unpacked our own marginalized statuses and how they are impacted
Right.
by a variety of different things. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, we've had fun, we've had serious conversations, but I think our goal with the show has always been to remind people that community is important, and we all have a role we play in maintaining community and maintaining, everyone having a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the mission all along.
It really is just about it. I do believe it is it's paramount, our duty as and I think you said it best, that it is our duty as white people to educate ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
to be part of this community of people. And we started during the end of the Trump era, and there was a lot of misinformation, a lot of a lot of hate going on.
Mm-hmm.
There was the pandemic going on, a lot of conspiracy going on, and so there was almost a call to action to stay educated.
Yeah. Yeah. And to promote the importance of education as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think very much, like, individually ourselves, like, in doing this show, I feel like we've grown in our own way also. And I hope that, well, I'm glad that we've allowed ourselves the grace to do so. And I'm glad that we were able to at least sit down and, have some conversations that are difficult. Sometimes have conversations that challenge us, because how do we grow with our community? How do we grow with the world that is actively growing if we aren't introspecting and doing that crucial self-reflection? I think that's necessary. So
Yeah, this show, I talk about it later, about unpacking events, but this show has definitely, because when I first started the show, I was still unpacking a lot of my own personal events, a lot of my own personal, like, traumas in my own life, and a lot of my own personal relationships in accordance to those traumas. And we talked a lot about, like, mental health in the early days. I don't know if we
mhm.
talk about mental health so much anymore, but in the early days we talked a
Yeah.
lot about mental health and bipolar and medication and all of those things. And in the early days, it really helped me work through those. It was that, and it was like my own support system, but working through those things kind of helped me think about things in a more educated way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it also helped us accept who we've become,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we've known each other for almost 20 years, Ari, right?
Yeah.
And I think that we have a pretty intimate knowledge of all the different things that we've navigated, mental health wise, relationship wise, you know, um, being bullied and discriminated against periodically, our own biases that we've had in the past. Like, I sincerely feel that doing this with you for the last 5 years has helped me become a better person. a better friend, and ultimately have a stronger impression of who I am as an individual.
Yeah, I agree for myself, but yes, I agree. It's our friendship has grown significantly because of this show, I think.
Yeah. I know I've had moments where during our little hiatus that we had earlier this season, I had moments where I was just like, I really miss Ari. I miss Ari so damn much. Oh my God.
How are we gonna deal with not having a show anymore?
Because we're gonna still talk and do video chats every now and then. We have to.
I swear. I'm thinking like are we gonna be able to end the show really? Because I'm thinking like it's gonna be like a year, 6 months, a year from now. We're gonna be like,
hello.
Ari.
Not the next
yet? Are you fixed yet?
No, we've had moments where I think once we started pre-recording episodes, you were like, actually, this format works really
this,
well.
yeah.
Like
I'm like, if we did this in this format, I could probably. I mean, I want to take a break at least, but I definitely think I could probably come back and do it in this format.
Same. And I remember like a couple of episodes after that, I was like subtly being like, I'm writing down episode ideas.
I know, because we're like,
what a great episode!
We can't. We're like Trump is going to be president. I'm like, we gotta do this. We gotta do the show.
No, somebody. Oh my God! Like after we made the announcement November 1st, I got a couple comments from people being like, it's very startling that you guys are ending the show right now of all times, because like we've been like a Geiger counter. What a horrible image. We've been like a Geiger counter for things happening, and I think that like I don't really think I realized the gravity of that. You know, I don't think I realized the depth in how we chose to begin incorporating the current event snapshot, especially. You know what's ironic? So I was going back and watching episodes in the first season, and we did talk about current events for the first couple of episodes, but then we didn't really bring up many current events until season 2.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we started doing some form of current event snapshot, was in season 2.
Yeah. When we started doing the current event snapshot, that's really when because the first season is kind of like this weird, like trying to figure out our dynamic, trying to figure out our equipment, trying to figure out, and I feel like this is like any podcast. You get a first season, you get like 10, 20 episodes down. That's not going to be what the show is. That's just not, it's not going to be what a podcast is. If you're, and this is advice to anyone starting a podcast, get through those first 10, 20 episodes.
Yeah.
And you're really going to figure out the person that you're doing that podcast with, or the people that you're doing that podcast with. You're going to see who's dedicated to doing the show and who's willing to step up to doing the podcast with you, because it is a commitment to doing it every week. Especially doing like the backdoor stuff, like doing the notes, because I do the notes sometimes, he does the notes sometimes. We always both try to contribute something to the research and development of the notes, the backstory. I always, at least when we're doing a subject, I always try to do a little bit of research before, or have some kind of prior knowledge to the topic that we're talking about. Have at least something formulated in your mind about what you're going to say before you come to the podcast. So, because like we'll have discussions, like we come probably about sometimes like half an hour before the show starts, and we're talking about the topic before everything starts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we have that hangout time, right? That I think helps us kind of prepare for what we're going to do. And I'm going to be I'm going to be showing all of you what the back end looks like of all the things that we've done in Restitching the Tapestry. It's kind of wild when you think about all the writing that we've done. I mean, granted, we both are type A writers, so like we're gonna.
But like you get through those first 10 episodes, and you get to know the. I mean, like Donny and I knew each other, but like you really start to get to know the people that you're with more, and like it starts to develop, because there's having a relationship with somebody, and then there's developing a podcast relationship. It's like,
well, we wouldn't have done this had we not already trusted each other, for one, right? Like that, like we knew as friends, but also creative souls, that when we commit to a long-term project, we give it our all, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about it. That's, I think, what makes podcasting very intimidating, is it is considered a long form project. I know some people do like limited series or shorter series. And everyone should fully accept their first season, or however many episodes, to not be perfect. I know we're going to be looking back at our first episode. You're going to see how we were back then.
Coming back to the episode, because it's like, that's like Wear It Up again, and we love.
You're gonna be blown.
It's our baby. That's our baby.
We've grown so much since then. So,
but we still love old days us, because that's our baby. We love our baby.
We were babies. We were babies. So, Ari, I mean, you're aware of this, but it is kind of as a surprise for you. But I have some segments from guests who've been on the show before who wanted to share their parting words with us to celebrate Restitching the Tapestry. So over the course of the next hour or so, I'm going to be sharing some of them. And I wanted to start with a message from my dear friend Cyndi, Stream of Awareness, who is a friend of the show. She's been on the show, I think, 3 or 4 times at this point. So here's a message from Cyndi.
Oh gosh, my favorite memory from being on Restitching the Tapestry has to be when you guys let me on there to talk autism. Because the autistic community, we're kind of pushed to the side a bit. And the fact that I got to talk about the autistic experience, needs we have, that really meant a lot. And having a platform there, to be invited there, because usually we have to do all the work and put ourselves out there. So to be offered an invitation and a platform, I was really grateful for that, and that was a good time. So I love you guys, and it's been a great show.
We love you, Cyndi. That was so sweet.
It's a great episode too. I remember that. I wasn't there for that episode. That was when I was taking a break from the show. But I remember watching that episode, and I remember kicking myself, thinking, "Oh, I wish I could have been on that episode, because that was such a good episode."
Yes. Oh my goodness. Of course, I've also had Cyndi and you on Growing Up with Godzilla as well. I know that whenever we have Cyndi, it's always going to be a very good, insightful conversation. And it extends that conversation that we talked about, with regard to the communal tapestry, right? Yeah. Because those in neurodiverse communities are often some of the first communities overlooked and minimized, not to mention discriminated against, right? So I'm really happy that we were able to carve out space in the show to have those important conversations. So Cyndi, you're a rock star, and we love you.
Amazing. I'm so glad that she came on the show and that she enjoyed herself, and just so happy that she was here, even if I missed her.
Well, so next question. What are we going to miss the most about the show? What are we going to miss the most?
There's so many things I'm going to miss about the show. I think the first thing I'm going to miss about the show is, one, seeing your lovely face every week or so. The second thing is, and it's kind of unexpected, but doing the research about things, because sometimes we'll do a topic and I know a little bit about some things, but then I'll start digging and I'll learn more about something, and like I'll be doing research, like our cult episode. Remember how many notes we had for the cult episode? It was like 3 pages of notes.
It was wild. We had sources linked in. We had all sorts of stuff. It was really intense, but that's what made it so good, I think. That's what, like, we felt really confident going into that conversation.
I think the one episode that I had the hardest time with was like that I always thought we needed to go back on, because I thought that I wanted to do more research about, and I thought deserved like more follow-ups, were 2 episodes: the military industrial complex and the business industrial complex, with talking about colleges, the college industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that we had briefly touched on those, but I feel like those could have used more research, and like, especially like the college industrial complex, like revisiting those. Like, I think we were going to do that like next season, like talking about like what it's like several years later, about like what the complex was now.
Yeah. So our concept for the next season, everybody, was going back and watching old episodes and reacting to them and adding to the conversation. Well, not watching the whole episode, but like having clips from those respective episodes and continuing the crucial conversation that we had. Still could be something we do in the future. You never know, right?
It was the restitching of the Restitching the Tapestry, where we were going through old episodes and restitching the tapestry of old episodes, and redeveloping old ideas, and redeveloping ideas of episodes that we had from previous seasons, and rehaving conversations that we had about things that we had previously talked about, and either playing clips from those episodes and either accepting those and adding to those, or rejecting ideas and saying why we rejected ideas from those episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much I'm going to miss. And of course, aside from seeing your wonderful face all the time, I'm going to miss, I think, the vulnerable moments. Mm-hmm. I'm going to miss the way that we were able to have vulnerable moments and like 5 minutes later talk about having a situation. I'm going to miss dressing up. We would have, was it season 3? I think it was season 4. We dressed up like so many episodes, and we had just so much fun with that. And that is something I'm going to miss so much.
Yeah. We got really good at doing costuming. I think that, part of our fun, and that was something that when I came back after my break in season 3, was that, and I think that's what made us so good, is that we knew to have fun in the show. Because I think that the first 2 seasons we were very serious, and we would end on these very, very serious notes. Like, people would be crying, we'd be bawling. We would end on these heavy notes, and it'd be like, we'd be sitting in the back room and we would just both be like stone faced, like
catatonic.
Like, how did that episode go? And like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But now we know, like, you can't end on such like a dead, like, mic drop episode. You can't end on such like a heavy note. You have to end like on a lighter note, because like it's like banging a gong next to somebody's head and being like, How do you feel?
What a juxtaposition.
Was that good? Did you enjoy yourself?
It's just between that, I'm gonna miss the poetry readings. I'm going to miss I'm gonna miss the research too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss the research too. And I know the Pride episodes for me were huge. Like, I am going to miss those a lot because I think, and we're going to be going over each other's top 10 episodes later, but I feel like for me, some of those Pride episodes, I felt the freest, the most enjoyable. I mean, I felt free the whole show, but I felt like such a level of fulfillment and enrichment from those.
Yeah.
It felt fun. It just felt fun.
I think piggybacking off the vulnerable moments, though, I think what made the vulnerable moments so good is the kindness we showed to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you would tell me like something really heavy, or I would tell you something really heavy, and then it wouldn't just be like, it would sit there. It wouldn't just be like you would say the thing. It was that you or I would acknowledge that thing, and it would be that it wouldn't just be like a thing that would just be out in the ether and just like there.
Mm-hmm.
It was that you would acknowledge that thing for me, or I would acknowledge that thing for you, and that was part of what made that's why we became such good friends, and why we are such good friends, and why you're like family now, is that we had these vulnerable moments, and it was sort of like it was okay. It was okay.
That almost made me cry.
I'm sorry.
But it's so true though. Like, Ari, you are family to me.
Yeah.
And as we've gone on these years, you are one of the people I feel most safe with. That I can be the most vulnerable with. And I've not been able to say that a lot in my life.
I think you're one of the only people who I mean, I'm honest with most people, but like, you're the first person I will tell if there's any sort of gossip about me. I'm like, girl, you want to hear some drama?
Girl, do you want to hear some
like,
tea?
I'm like, Donny, I have to, like, if I have something, like, if people want to know, like, if I disappear, go to Donny, because he probably knows where my dead body is.
Because if I don't hear from Ari in like 3 days, I know I'm a sleuth. I'm like, what's going on?
If you don't hear from me in a day, there's something wrong.
Yeah, we literally do talk every single day, basically, and I love it. I would not have it any other way. Oh, whew. So I guess, how have we used the show as well as, with the community to unpack events in our own lives, especially with current events? And what will we do now afterward?
Oh.
God damn it.
So we talked about this. We talked about like how we started the show, that it was basically like we used the show as this jumping off point to like unpack heavy things like the George Floyd protest, and we used it to unpack the pandemic. I think that I'm gonna cry. I can't look at you right now. I mean, you're crying. You're gonna cry, and I'm gonna cry. So we unpacked like the pandemic with a lot of like the conspiracy theories, and we unpacked like the Trump presidency, and we unpacked like the election just this last few months. So yeah, a lot of this that's going on, we unpacked all of those things as a community. Like, we would sit there and be like, there's a lot of heavy stuff going on. Let's talk about it together. Like, when we talk about these things together, we can work on and we can heal those things together as a community.
I think that was perfectly stated. Absolutely. I think for me, an important role of this show and unpacking current events is to help. It's just helped me not feel alone in all of it, right? Because when all of these difficult things are going on, if it's so easy to feel like you're being swallowed whole by the heaviness of the fact that we are literally navigating like a major event every few months, it seems.
Yeah.
And the show, I think, has allowed us to really kind of pan out to the best of our ability, find comfort in one another, and know that, like, we're all in this together. Like, we're all facing this giant monster, it seems.
I was just thinking the same word, this giant beast, this giant monster of that's happening in front of us, this giant unyielding thing together.
Yeah. What's the hardest part about endings? Like, do you feel as though it's a failure on our parts that, we couldn't keep something going in the capacity that it was in?
Part of me feels like I am a failure. That my mental health made it so that I couldn't keep going with the live streams, and there is a part of me that feels like I did fail the community in a little bit.
Never. Ari, you are the furthest thing from a failure that I could possibly think of. The fact that you have put in so much work together with me on this show. Ari, we were successful years ago, not just now.
I know, but I couldn't keep going. I couldn't do it.
And what you're doing by making this decision for yourself, you are being crucial representation for people to know what it means to set healthy boundaries, to care about your mental well-being, to show people that it's okay to call it a day when you need to.
Yeah.
A lesson in granting yourself grace, right? And it might not reverse that feeling immediately, but I hope that you can look back on this and realize just how much you've accomplished. Because you have. We both have. You okay?
Just sad. Sad.
Me too.
Just want people to know that I care about them, and that this was not an easy decision. This is not something that I was just like, hey guys, screw you, I'm running out of here.
That never is how it came off. And I just, honestly, part of me wonders if you were worried about how I was going to react. But I love and respect you so much that like when I knew that when something was up that we had to make the decision best for our health and mental health, right? Because I care about you, and I don't think of our ending as a failure. I think of it as a celebration.
I'm just worried about how this Trump administration is going to pan out, how the internet's going to look, and how that's going to affect my mental health.
Yeah. And it's completely, in my opinion, wise to consider that. right? I think it's wise to, because again, when we consider our safety, what we're doing is we are showing other people that that's acceptable when we live in a world that tries to condition us that it isn't, right?
Right.
So you are not a failure, Ari. And I hope that looking back at everything reminds you and shows you all that you've done, all the good you've done. Are we ready for another guest video?
Is it time for the guest video? Okay. Is it from Lacy?
It is from Lacy. So Lacy is also, you met Lacy, I think, for one of the episodes, didn't you?
Yes, I did. We did an episode with Lacy.
Yeah. So here is a message from my dear, dear friend, Lacy.
Hey guys, it's just me, making a little video here to wish you guys well. I know Restitching the Tapestry is ending here pretty soon, but I believe maybe in the future that you guys will have some sort of revival. If not, I feel like this has been a great stepping stone for each and every one of you that's been on the show. It's been a pleasure to be able to do 2 interviews with you guys. One about the power of gaming, and then another one about ableism as it relates to disability and all that stuff. And I really enjoyed educating people and, talking about gaming and how it's really helped in my life. I love you all. And Ari and Heather, it's been great meeting you and talking to you. And Donny, you know you're my bestie. You're always going to be my bestie. You're my brother. And I love you. And no matter where you guys end up, you guys are going to do great things. I just know it. I just know it. Love you guys. Bye.
Lacy, we love you so much. That was so unbelievably sweet, and right back at you. You are family to me and family to the show. Ari,
I'm okay. I'm okay.
We're going to get through this. I promise y'all, we're going to get through this. Wow. This we're so sad about making this decision, guys, but again,
it's really hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm trying not to get too emotional about it because yeah, I don't want to get too emotional about it. Because I don't want people to be teary about it. I want people to be happy and enjoy this last episode and to feel good, and that it's not sad, and it may not be forever, and it's going to be okay, and we're going to work it out. And if I'm back, there's always a possibility of coming back.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I don't want this to be like this is forever, possibly.
It's okay to be sad.
It's okay to be sad.
But in a way, like even in the grand scheme, even if we don't come back though, like what legacy have we created though with everything that we've done, right? So much has come from the show that for us, I think individually, that's why I felt at peace when we made this decision, because I'm so proud of what we've done, and I can't imagine anyone else I would have rather done it with.
I want our legacy to be one of truth and kindness and intelligent conversation.
Yeah.
And thoughtful community.
Thoughtful community. I love that. Well, we do want to do a quick Q. So we put out a survey for people to submit us some questions to ask, and we have a few questions. Do we want to answer some questions?
Did we get? How many questions did we get?
We have 5 questions.
Woo!
So the first one from Gojira Core 94. A Godzilla fan watches the show too. Okay, love that. Gojira Core 94 asks, what is your proudest moment from this podcast over the past 5 years? Is there anything you would have done differently?
Proudest moment.
My proudest moment is 180 episodes.
My proudest moment on the podcast was when we reached the 50-mile mark. That was like, we've made it as a podcast. When
we made it.
Also, the second proudest moment on the podcast was when we finally got onto Apple Podcasts. That was like a proud moment. That was like, we've done it. We have finally made it as a podcast. We're finally on Apple Podcasts, and we finally reached the 50 episode mark. We have finally made it as a podcast.
Oh my goodness. Now that's how I feel too. Like those, along with, for me, hitting the 100 episode threshold was huge for me.
Yeah.
I've often thought about the future if we do pick this up again. We've been talking about like the fact that there are like podcast studios in the area. I think it would be really cool to record one of the Threshold episodes in a podcast studio where we're both like in the same room being filmed. Like it would feel so like bougie.
Oh my God. Don't threaten me with a good time.
But thank you, Gojira Core, for that wonderful question. We really appreciate it.
I can't do it, Donny. We're ending the show.
We're ending the show. Damn it. We have a question from our dear friend Taylor. Taylor submitted a question. How has your friendship grown and evolved over working together creatively for this long?
Our friendship, I take it like, have you ever bought like a new leather jacket?
Mm-hmm.
When you buy a leather jacket, it creaks and it groans and it feels nice and it fits. But like as you work the leather and you take care of it, it gets creases in it and it gets crinkles in it. It gets crinkles in it, and it gets worn in, and it gets soft and buttery and lovely as you take care of it and give it love and give it, time and attention, and you take care of this leather jacket. It grows and it becomes like a regular part of your life, but it becomes like a keepsake,
Absolutely. That's a great answer to that question. For me, how the friendship has grown and evolved working together this long is I feel like we have such a creative synergy, and for me it's such a full circle moment because all the way back in like 2007 or 2008 when we bonded over getting into YouTube for the first time, like I always told myself internally, I want to collaborate with this person. I want Ari and I to create like this really cool world where we can just be who we are, fearlessly, authentically. And I feel that we've done that. And that's what makes me feel so good about this. And I tell you everything. Ari, I tell you when I have a very difficult poop. That's how much I trust you.
You tell me and the internet, Donny.
Oh God, I just didn't know. But you just make me feel safe enough to talk about it.
It's all right. Honestly, after we've talked about, because I think I talked about like that there should be apps and stuff about like where, like you should go to the bathroom and stuff. I started seeing like in the last like that have been posted, like starting like 6 to 9 months ago, people talking about bathroom issues. And I was like, I know it's probably just like a coincidence and that people have been talking about this probably for like ages and stuff. But I started seeing like videos of people talking about like, why are there no public restrooms? And I was like, I don't know if it was just because like we were talking about it or if it was just because the algorithm picked up on it and like they heard us talking about like bathroom stuff. But I was like,
Huh. Oh. Will we invent some sort of potty app someday? Maybe that'll be our next creative endeavor
I
together.
really hope that they do it. They actually in New York City, there's a Google map that shows you where you can go to the bathroom.
Oh, Google! Of course, Google's done it.
No, but it's people making like a Google map. Like
yeah,
it's
people
like
are so
citizens
resourceful.
putting pinpoints in where you can go to the bathroom in New York City.
And that's some community building there, looking out for each other's bathroom usage.
Yeah.
Because we need that sometimes.
Yeah.
So Arpy has a question. Arpy's been a longtime viewer as well. What has been the most cathartic poem for you guys to write?
Well, I wrote a poem back in October 2023 that is at the end of this podcast that I'm going to read. Not the most cathartic poem. I wrote a whole poetry book that was cathartic, which was Beachfront Property. And that was probably one of the most cathartic things I've ever written. 300 poems just to say I need a break from David Lynch.
I also wrote a pretty cathartic poem for the end of the episode. I would say that Feats of Alchemy as a collection was probably my most cathartic piece, but recently I think one of the most cathartic pieces I've written was, I think at the end of the Hodgepodge 5.0 episode, I read a new poem titled Brine that I think has been one of the most cathartic pieces I've written in a long time. So, well, not to be self-serving, but we may have asked ourselves some questions as well.
I totally was like, I'm gonna submit
this person named Ari submitted a question. What are your 2025 goals? What are the 2020? Wow. What are your 2025 goals? What do they look like? I cannot.
What are your 2025's goals? That seems like something I would have written half awake this afternoon. What do your 2025 goals look like?
Well, what do your 2025 goals look like, Ari?
Hang on.
What is Ari going to show us? I do not know. But all I know is that I am ready and excited. What on earth could it possibly be?
Just real quick. I've got my bullet journal for 2025. Boo, boo, boo.
Oh my gosh.
And I've got 2025 goals and my resolutions.
Ooh, what are they?
I won't go over all of them, but I have writing goals, drawing goals, journaling goals, exercise goals, sleep goals, financial goals, and reading goals. So I'll just read you the writing goals for 2025 because those are the most important. Finish a poetry book, write up a draft of my book, query 30 publishers, write a lot, write another poetry book, finish up all of my 2024 poetry, like write up all of my poetry from 2024, and write another book, and finish my screenplay, and try to sell at least 10 books somehow.
Ooh. Those are some excellent goals. Well, not to mention your school goal for 2025 as well.
My what?
Your school goal.
Oh, do I have school goals? Just to graduate.
That's a huge goal. That's important, right? Like
That is an important goal.
Ari, you're gonna have a master's degree.
Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do with it? Nobody wants to I was reading a thing in the Harper's magazine that said nobody wants original screenplays anymore, and I was like, oh, I'm getting a degree in screenwriting.
I don't know. I think you're gonna be the person that changes all that around. You're gonna bring it where it needs to be.
You think so?
Absolutely.
You think I'm gonna save Hollywood?
You're gonna save Hollywood. You're gonna save originality, because damn it, we need that.
Maybe I'll be a film director. Maybe someone will give me money to be a film director.
They'd be mind-boggling not to do that, because I think you are a wealth of creativity and of ingenious ideas. I think that the sky's the limit.
Oh, I will take money for a film, please.
I will say, you all know that Ari and I are each other's biggest fans, though, right? So let that sink in.
Just manifest that from the universe. It's not for me. It's for my movie. That's all I care about. Just give me money for a film. I don't care.
Oh. My 2025 goals is to write a book. I want to digitize old family videos from the 80s and 90s.
Oh, that's actually super easy to do.
I know. I'm starting that. I just need to get a VCR, and I'm getting one tomorrow. I'm pretty excited.
You are getting a VCR?
I sure am. Some of these things I've not seen since the 90s, so it's going to be... Check out my archive channel, because I'm going to be posting some of them on there. Number 3, get married.
Those are some huge goals.
Yep. 2025.
Oh my God, Donny, I'm going to watch you get married next year.
I know. It's going to be great. It's going to be good food, dancing.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be a good night.
It's going to be great.
So, I was self-serving and also submitted a question. What are our favorite aspects of one another? I will go first.
Oh, okay.
My favorite aspects of you are your intelligence, your wisdom, your deep curiosity, your wealth of creativity. Because at the end of the day, you're always inspiring me to keep going. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
My favorite aspects of you are, I love how you always follow your dreams, and that you just always make it happen. Like you always seem to manifest the things that you're hoping for, and that it's so inspiring how you've made some of the most beautiful things happen in your life. And sometimes they're just very simple, like small things, like I just wish I could have my own garden, or big things like I wish I could make a comic book for Godzilla. It's so inspiring, and it just keeps me like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to do those things, do certain things for myself. And I know that if I keep trying, because Donny has manifested in his life, I know I can do it for myself. I also love your intelligence. You're so smart. You're well-read. You're charismatic. I love how interesting you are. You're a person who is just curious about the world, and just shows interest in other people. And through your podcast, you've always shown just how interested you are in other people. And it's so obvious just how much you care and how much interest you show in other people regularly. And through all of the interviews you've done for other people, it's such a beautiful thing. Another aspect I really love about you is just how well dressed you are.
Oh, stop.
No, you are. You're well dressed. I think that you downplay it a lot. That you were like, oh no, I'm just a regular guy.
I'm going to ruin the illusion right now and show you that I am in Christmas pajama pants. My upper half is only well dressed.
But I actually I gauge dating men on how well they are dressed, because okay, you are a gay man, I understand, but I want to date somebody who at least knows how to trim their beard as well as you do, and knows how to dress as well as you do. Because if my friend Donny can do it, I'm sure that a straight man can do it too.
Oh, you're so sweet. We gays are always setting standards for the straight dudes. Catch up, men.
The bar is not in hell. I have standards. Trim that beard. I'm kidding.
I love it. Oh my goodness. So, are we ready for another segment, another clip?
Yes.
So another wonderful human being who's been a very frequent guest on our show, Jared Morningstar, has a video for us, a farewell video. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Jared Morningstar. It has been such a pleasure to be an occasional guest over the last few years on Restitching the Tapestry, sharing my poetry along with my very talented friends as they shared their words to try to make a little bit of sense sometimes out of this crazy world, but doing so with a smile on their faces and hope in our minds and in our hearts. Donny and Ari, thank you for everything over the last few years on the show. Sometimes it feels like the world is coming apart at the seams, but we're all thankful. Speaking for myself and everyone else who's enjoyed the show over the years. Thank you for putting your time and effort and energy and love into restitching everything back together for us all. Thank you both so much. I'll miss you, but I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'm sorry too. I've had so much fun doing this with you.
Yeah.
It's felt so good. Jared, thank you for those beautiful words, my friend. You joining us every season to do a poetry episode has been the highlight of the seasons. Your words have such power to them, and I'm glad that you were able to be a crucial part of our tapestry.
I'm so glad everyone got to be part of this show that was on it.
Me too. Well, let us collect ourselves for a second. Do we want to share our top 10 favorite episodes?
You go first.
So number 10 for me was season 4, episode 111, Ope Being a Midwesterner.
Oh, that was a good one.
That show has turned into one of my comfort episodes for some reason. I think it's because we were just so funny in it.
Oh, just let me sneak past you there.
You doing a Midwestern impression for like 5 minutes and sounding like Sarah Palin the entire time was one
Oh
of
goodness, I don't know what you're talking about, Barry.
it's one of my favorite things.
I just need to get the flour so I can bake some cookies. But oh goodness, I just need to pour myself a drink or something. Oh goodness. Do you want to make some margaritas in the blender or something there, eh?
No, margarita sounds pretty good.
Oh goodness. Do you want to hear some gossip? Did you hear about the Pastor John? Pastor Johnson, I think he showed up and he was a little snooker during his
A little snooker.
he talked about forgiveness, but on his breath, I think he went a little too hard on the communal wine. But I didn't see anything. I heard it was Sister Sarah who was talking about it.
Oh, just gonna scooch on past you there.
Just gonna scooch on past you there and get into the communal wine. Oh goodness.
So, the emotional slingshots in this episode tonight. 1 minute I'm sobbing, the next moment I'm dying of laughter. So number 9 for me is an interesting one. It's season 4, episode 127, Digital Footprints.
Ooh.
That episode, we were so we were kind of like talking about our own experiences, but really just delving into like some of the research. And I really appreciated that, especially since we've both had our own journeys digitally, right? And I felt like being that the show is in an online format, like that kind of made it very fitting to discuss. So
yeah.
Number 8, season 4, episode 120, Tokenism.
I thought about putting that episode too. Interesting.
Number 7 for me is actually the State of the Podcast and America, episode 176 from a few episodes ago.
Really?
It was a very vulnerable episode, and I think it talked about so many important things, especially happening right now. And I personally think that episode is us at our best, even though we were navigating a transition, right? Number 6, episode 163 from last season, season 4, Living Our Best Gay Lives. No, actually, that was this season. Just kidding. Season 5, Living Our Best Gay Lives. It was one of our Pride episodes. It was so fun.
That was a good episode. I thought about putting that episode too.
I can't wait to hear your list. So number 5 is a tie between Being Woke parts 1 and 2 from last season. That was fun. Number 4 is Hot Gay Summer from season 4, episode 120. Oh my God, I loved that so much. That might be my favorite Pride episode.
That episode was good because the Being Woke episode and the Hot Gay Summer episode are good because we dressed up in those episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's why I like those episodes, but I'm not sure why you liked those episodes.
It was for the dress up, but also for the good conversation.
Very true.
Okay, now we're in the top 3. Number 3,
Ooh.
season 3, episode 86, with Heather, Being Passive Aggressive. Still one of my favorite episodes ever. Number 2, The Art of Journaling, parts 1 and 2, episodes 38 and 47, and Sherry joined us for that second one. And I thought that we had such a good conversation for both episodes.
That was a good episode, actually. I forgot about that episode.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was in season 3, wasn't it?
Season 2. Maybe.
Was it?
Yeah, both of them were in season 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And my number 1, believe it or not, was our very first episode. Episode 1, Beyond Just Protest, What's Next? Because that's what set us on this trajectory.
So you and with the first episode being your top episode.
What's your top 10?
My 10th episode, the lowest on my list, but still in the top 10, is the first episode. I liked it. But the reason why it wasn't my favorite episode is because there was a lot of issues with that episode. And although I love that episode, I still think that there was room for growing in that episode. And so, although because when I made my list, I went through all of the episodes, and so I made a list that was like 30 or 40 episodes long. Like
Wow.
I had a big list of episodes. And so I was like, you got to include in the top 10 the first episode. You just do, because that's our baby. That's our baby.
Oh, that's a good one. I think your explanation is very fitting for having that be in the number 10.
Do we want to show a clip from that episode?
So we will do it after you share your top 10, because everybody's going to have that to look forward to.
Okay. My 9th episode that I really liked, like in the top 10, was our Ideal Dream Day, episode 93.
Oh, I forgot about that episode.
Yeah. I really liked it because it really just like talked about like what we thought our perfect day looked like. And it's such a time and a place, because it's definitely probably changed from what it was, but at that moment in time, what we thought our perfect day looked like. And number 8 was the hodgepodge episodes. So I cheated, and it was all of the hodgepodge episodes. So 97, 129, 164, 177, and I think I was missing one, but all of the hodgepodge episodes, because those were amazing.
They were chaos, and I would not have it any other way.
Number 7 is the Let Them Theory episode. I think that's from this season, 146.
Oh, that was one of the, I think that was the second episode this season.
Mm-hmm. That episode really changed me as a person. It was the beginning of changing the way that I dealt with other people. And that I started to really change how I interact with other people, and that I let them interact with me in certain ways, and that sometimes I don't always speak forthright anymore, that I let them kind of reveal themselves to me. And when you let people speak, they definitely will say what they're thinking.
They will. Absolutely.
And so that's interesting. Number 6, Hot Gay Summer, number 121.
Yes.
Because of the dress up and because of the conversation. But that was just a really, I wanted to pick at least one of the Gay Pride episodes, and that was probably my favorite Gay Pride episode of all the Pride episodes that we did. But having only 10 episodes to choose from out of the 40, I was like, I gotta pick at least one of the Gay Pride episodes because they were so good. Number 5, we did a couple early on in the first season about, we did 2 episodes back to back. We did the significance of science, and we did climate change, episodes 16 and 17.
Oh, yes.
And so I thought that those were really important episodes to the evolution of our show. And that again, this is talking about like educating ourselves and spreading information and trying to, unpack and trying to combat ignorance. And so I think that was kind of important in the early days, is that we talked about things like that. We also talked about conspiracy theories at one point too. During, I don't know if it was a single episode, but we talked about like a lot of conspiracy theories that were being thrown around during the pandemic about like, Wi-Fi towers being like
manipulating
causing,
something, or
causing like pandemic symptoms and things like that, and all sorts of wacky things like that. We talked about like all those conspiracy theories, and why they were wrong. But and just trying to spread more information about like why things were wrong, and what the information was that society was, that scientists were giving us. But I think that setting up that basis of the significance of science and climate change in those early days really set up the basis of what we would do later.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that was really important. And I'm not sure if we always got it right when it came to spreading information, but I think that the attempt to try to spread positive information,
meaningful, and we did do our research. I mean, there's always the question of interpretation of information, but I think we did pretty well.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
All of our poetry hour episodes, but that's why I was tearing up about Jared, is because all of our poetry hour episodes. So the one I listed was episode 99. But all of the poetry hour episodes were good. I think I listed 99 because that was the one with Heather and Jared. But all of them were good. Number 3, and this is again talking about like unpacking, because we talked about doing like, I don't know, we didn't start the show with, we started the show with episode 1, season 1, with being about a current event, but we didn't do a whole lot of current events in the first season. It wasn't until like the second season. But we unpack some of these episodes that we did are basically like time capsule episodes. And I think we talked about this a little bit before we started filming. But there's one, episode 25, where we talk about the insurrection, and we talk about the whole episode. We talk about the insurrection. Then there's episode 68, which talks about the Ukraine invasion, as well as a Texas attacks trans youth. And we talk about that for, I think, majority of the episode.
We talked about that a lot.
I think it was most of the episode. I think that was basically what the whole episode was about. But so we have these moments where we take a side journey into what's, because I think that sometimes we ignore current events if they get too overwhelming, like especially with the election. Sometimes we're like, this is a safe space, and sometimes we just need a break from it. But most of the time we adhere and acknowledge current events, and we adhere to current events because they are such an integral part of the tapestry that is our show.
Absolutely. That was powerfully put.
Number 2, being passive aggressive.
Oh my God, was in your top 3 also?
Yes, it was. That episode was so funny, and for so many reasons. I think we made a joke about it in the boundaries episode, where we were just like, bye, Irish goodbye, bye. But in the passive, that was a throwback to the passive aggressive episode, where I just like clicked off, and they were like, did she just leave? It was like,
that's one thing I really enjoy about the longevity of our show, is that we've kind of created our own lore within the show universe, right?
It's true.
Oh God, I love it.
But my top episode, and what was so very important to our show, was the nature versus nurture episode. And that to me was such a powerful episode, because being passive aggressive and nature versus nurture were the first couple episodes that after I came back, and where we learned to start having fun on the show.
Yeah.
And where it wasn't quite a format change, but it was definitely like the show you could feel the shift in the way that the show was headed. Like the first couple seasons, even into the third season, the show was going in one direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took a break, and there was this kind of break energy that there, it was we weren't sure about how the show was going to go. And then
I
I
thought
came
the show
back.
was going to end.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I came back from the break, and the first episode was the nature versus nurture episode. And that show was powerful. That was a very powerful episode. At least to me personally. And I always think about that episode, and sometimes I'll listen to it again, and just think about like how revitalized I was in that episode, and how excited I was in that episode, and like how, and like even the being passive aggressive, like those first few episodes after that break, I was so excited to be back on the show.
There was a new energy, and we went with it, and it's carried us all the way until now. Honestly, that's a great top 10, by the way.
Yeah,
and an unexpected
yours
number
was
one.
good too.
We like, oh, they were both really good. So, do we want to look at a couple clips?
Yes.
Let's look back at a couple clips, everyone. So, the first clip that I want to show actually is one from a recent episode. Something really thought-provoking that Ari said at the end. Can you see this okay?
Yes.
At the end of the Hodgepodge 5.0 episode, like literally 2 episodes ago, really, really hit me, and I just wanted to share it.
I love doing this.
Oh, do you have any parting words for the evening?
Do what you love. And the rest will follow.
Perfect. Do what you love, and the rest will follow. That, Ari, that really hit me at the end of that episode, hearing that.
Yeah.
And like that. I think that's why I enjoy having you, like, because I often will make you I'll make you do the parting words. Because again, your level of wisdom is mind-boggling. So the other clip I wanted to show was literally the first like couple of minutes of our first episode, Ari. I feel like it's only poetic to go back to that. So looking back at, I mean, look at through this whole playlist. My goodness. Can you see the playlist?
Yes, I can see the playlist.
Going all the way back to episode 1. Okay, are you ready?
Look at our faces.
Okay, here we go.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We are going to wait a couple minutes to see if anybody tunes in. And we're just going to have some random conversation first. So I hope you're okay with that. This is the first time in almost a year that I'm live streaming anything because technology is not my friend. Okay. But this is my dear friend Ari Whipple, who is
Ari, you going?
a YouTuber as well, and their channel is Strange Nothing. So please go check out Strange Nothing's YouTube channel. Ari, how are you today?
I am so excellent. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you here because I know we've been feeling pretty passionate about this subject. I mean, considering it definitely reflects current events right now. It says we have 5 people watching so far. Yay! Okay,
We were
some
so
people are tuning
random.
in. Yes, good. Okay. So welcome. This series is titled Restitching the Tapestry, and I think about was it a few days ago or about a week ago we came up with this idea because as white people, we have been really wanting to facilitate conversations about white privilege and holding people accountable for things. And additionally, we've been wanting to talk about like different, say, pop cultural phenomena, different current events that can be analyzed through like creative lenses and through ultimately very humanistic perspectives, right? Um, so before we get started, I'm going to kind of read our show's, say, like mission statement.
Oh,
Okay, so many witnessed different atrocities, large or small, and these atrocities often fray the social fabric around us. And much of the time, many may feel powerless and know not how to address those things. So, this fray has, of course, gotten worse with the rise of social media, being able to share trauma openly and having it go viral, where people can watch it unfold in real time on a mass scale and share in a type of collective grief and outrage. So the big question is, what can we do to mend the communities that have seen considerable tragedy, most of which privileged groups have actively caused, and many who won't admit their personal involvement? So let's work on restitching the tapestry together through conversation, creativity, and action.
oh my goodness. I was long-winded. Ari, I was so long-winded.
I think I was like, why am I not saying anything?
See, you were quiet. I was long-winded. I'm really glad that we edited the mission statement because it was very clunky.
I think I was just so nervous.
Which baffles me because you're so seasoned at all of this.
Well, the thing about it is that during that time period, I was also heavily medicated.
Mm-hmm.
In the early seasons, I didn't talk a lot. And my tardive dyskinesia used to manifest in ways that, I don't know if you used to notice this about me, but my mouth would hang open.
Mm-hmm.
I would stand there like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have a hard time like articulating myself. I still have a hard time articulating myself, but it's not the same as it was.
Mm-hmm. Looking back on that, how does that make you feel, that whole episode?
I did the best I could. And I was just trying to figure it out. And I did the best I could. I had the most intelligent conversation at the time that I could. And I'm still doing okay. I'm doing the best I can. And I always try to have the most intelligent conversation I can. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it does not.
Same here. But looking at us then versus now, we've grown so much.
My face looks skinnier than it used to.
I feel like I look a little bit more refined than I used to. Like, but also like I feel like our aesthetic has changed as a show. Like our video quality has changed. Like I feel like with every season we've definitely tried to zhuzh it up a bit. Let's just say.
Yeah.
So the next small segment, because we are nearing the end, my friends, unfortunately, is I want to show you our backstage, what it looks like to do all of that back end work. And you're going to be kind of mind blown, everyone. So we have two documents. So we have like this episode document that we have like a table that has like tracked all of our episodes.
Oh yeah.
All of our episodes.
That's old reliable, yeah.
And I'm not going to show you the episode ideas that we have at the end, but we have a whole major list of episode ideas. I would put some notes in here. Like we have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We do also have so many documents. We have like at least 11 full documents of notes for each and every episode.
That's the latest one, right?
Yeah, this is the latest one. So, and each of them are about like 30 some pages. So like, oh my goodness, like 11 pages.
I think, yeah, this one's 18 pages long, the newest one.
So we have like probably around 300 pages worth of like episode material. But like We
You want to show the first page, the first document?
Oh my gosh, let me see if I can find it. I'm going to have to go back in time and find it really quickly. Let me see. It's going to be quite a ways back. Restitching the Tapestry. If I could spell, that would be great. Oh my goodness.
See if I can find it.
I just found it.
Oh, you found it?
I think I just found it. Wow. Wow, it looks so different. It looks so different.
Let's see it.
Back when we spelled your name R-E.
Oh, wow.
We were plotting out like episode frequency, everything like that. Wow. We were, so our other episode idea, or our other title ideas, I almost said conversion tapestry. Ooh. Conversation tapestry, the chit chat tapestry, the bemused tapestry, the eclectic examinations, ideological tapestry, and then we settled on restitching the tapestry.
Right.
I forgot all about this, Ari. Wow. This is wild. Oh my goodness. Isn't that's so cool to look back at? Like we have like our own little museum of.
That's amazing that we have that original document that has like the information of all of the different like idea stuff about restitching the tapestry.
Yeah. I love it. So, let's do like one more question.
Sure.
And then we'll do our final video and then we will do our outro.
Okay.
So, what does the future look like for Restitching the Tapestry? Is it the end or is it a new beginning?
Oh, I don't know.
Me neither.
It's the end of an era for sure.
It's the end of an era. I always tell people that the door is always open for an opportunity to return. Like, this is an end. This is an end. And if it is the end, that's completely okay. But I know that Ari and I love doing this. And if we do make the decision to come back, you know we're going to.
Ari. 3:00 in the morning. Ari. Are you better yet? Is it time to restitch the tapestry?
Are you pretending to be me messaging you at 3 a.m? Or is this your inner voice?
I know you're gonna be like, Ari, you want to make a video together? We don't have to like do the podcast necessarily. Just like make a video, right? We could just like have a conversation in like 10-15 minutes, maybe a 20-minute video. You want to do a 20-minute video about a topic? We could do that, right?
That's going to turn back into a podcast.
It really is. And you're gonna be like, Ari, you know you want that sweet, sweet intellectual conversation hit. we can just jump on video and do like a little conversation. It doesn't have to be a full hour. We could just do like 20 minutes.
Ari, I'll remind you that after we did our State of the Podcast episode, you were like, Donny, nudge, nudge. Now that we're doing it in this format, you know, I could see us continuing. And I remember you saying that and me being like, I was like, what?
I'm just as bad as you are.
That's why we feed into each other so much, right?
It's true.
Are you ready for our final guest video segment?
Yes, I'm ready for it.
This last one is from Heather, who guest co-hosted for about 10 episodes back in season 3. Here is what Heather had to say to us.
Hey, Restitching the Tapestry fans. This is Heather, one of your guest hosts from back in the day. I hope this message finds you all well. As Donny and Ari close out their show, they wanted me to pop in and talk about a little bit what it was like being on the show and share some of my more fonder memories of it. I think for me, the thing that will always stick out the most is just how nervous I was when I first started on the show. This is not in my wheelhouse. Doing something like this is totally outside my comfort zone. But as I did the show more and more, I came to realize just how special the show is. There are so few things in this life that make you feel like you belong, and this show definitely did that. Getting to meet all of you and the guest hosts and just sharing our lives and our everyday experiences is something that I will always, always treasure, just as I treasure all of you. And to Donny and Ari, thank you so much for putting yourselves out there every week for this and making people feel that they're not alone. You guys are two incredible people, so special, so wonderful. Just thank you so much. And thank you for letting me be a very small thread in a very beautiful tapestry. All the best to all of you. Keep writing, sharing your poetry, and love to all of you.
Heather, I love you so much. Thank you. I don't know if I should cry or laugh because I'm emotionally a rubber band right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Friends, we've had so much fun doing this.
Wow.
And being that both Jared and Heather mentioned poetry, I can't think of a better way to close out this show than by sharing some poems. What do you think, Ari?
Oh God. Hang on. I closed out the document. Let me pull it up again. Here we go. I didn't think I need it. Oh, here we go. Are you ready to hear my poem?
I'm ready.
I would play again for you. The words fell out of me, the beautiful array that filled me. There's nothing else to do but fly like angels at dawn. I am in the majesty of the presence of gods, come down from up high. They fill me up, my mind, with smooth, become tired curves and crazy unawares. It completes and fills up all possible artifacts, every cell of the body. I ate and was fed. I felt you say it was okay if I did. The coolness of the moment, the warmth of your heart, the hot fire that I sent myself down that burned me up like a star in the night. The way it wanted for all of me, the way I wanted it all for all of you. In that moment, we stood up in front of each other, two pawns that the universe got together. And boy, did we play our part.
Wow. And we did. Mm-hmm. Didn't we?
Yeah.
It was beautiful, Ari. Last but not least, here is my poem. Thread and thimble. Together, we dangle against the cliff sides, a world of peril and precipices. Even as the storms sweep away the seaside, we've somehow survived by the poetry we've woven into tattered sails, hope-filled lullabies, resolved protests we've shouted toward the sky as our raft unravels. We're in this together, you said. Until the end we go, I reply, only to realize that the thread we leave behind now circles the world threefold, iron strong, ready for others to take hold. Fuck. Ari, I can't look at you right now. I can't look at you. Woo! My friends, let's share some we shared our parting poetry, now our parting words. The world is still growing. We all are threads in this tapestry. And I think we all have a responsibility to care for that tapestry, because there's a whole future out there, my friends. And it has to be woven into a beautiful future, right? Ari, how about you?
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna let you go, never gonna pull you down, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
My friends, we love you. We'll always be here for you. And remember, we are existing in a world that's growing. So we always have that responsibility.
I'm sorry I rickrolled you.
Play that outro music.